Hello and welcome to Newsround, the programme that brings you up to date with the aerospace and defence highlights and insights from Africa, the Middle East and India. I'm Alan Peaford. Well, we've just about cleaned up from our exploits at the International Defence Exhibition IDEX in Abu Dhabi. And we're going to be talking to Faisal Bannai, the CEO of Edge, the UAE defence conglomerate, about the company's rising fortunes since it's formed just over a year ago. And cleanliness is a theme from Jill Stockbridge, who's looked at sprucing up airlines and business jets to instill confidence in passengers. But is it enough? And when we're up in the air, what do we want? Well, what we want at home: decent connectivity. Technology editor Steve Nichols finds out from Honeywell why KaBand could be the answer. But first, a brief message from our sponsors. So join me after the break for the news headlines. Welcome back, and here are the news headlines from across the region. Airlines in India and the Middle East appear to be shaking off the cobwebs of COVID and are opening doors for pilot recruitment. Kuwaiti carrier Jazeera Airways chairman Marwan Bannai told Reuters last week that the airline could be in the market for 13 more A320 aircraft very soon. Meanwhile, Jazeera has teamed up with Bahrain's Gulf Aviation Academy to create a cadet program. GAA's chief executive, Dafa Al-Abbasi, outlined the deal.
It is very good news. We're all very happy about it. Us and Al Jazeera Airways, who have teamed up to start a cadet program. This cadet program shall offer the A320 type rating here at GAA, and then 1,500 hours of flying with Jazeera Airways in Kuwait. So that gives us all hope, something to start with.
Meanwhile, to add to those clear signs of recovery, India's Indigo has committed 14 cadets to undergo its cadet pilot program with the UK's Skyborne Airline Academy, and have begun the first phase of their commercial FAA pilot training in the United States. They're hoping to fly the line as A320 first officers. Saudi Arabia's Flyer Deal has also announced it's in the lookout for Saudi nationals to join its cadet program. Alam Mozambique 737-700 aircraft suffered a runway excursion when landing at Quelimane Airport on a domestic flight from Maputo. Passengers safely evacuated the aircraft via the air stairs onto rough, grassy ground. There were no reported casualties. Nigerian investigators, however, are looking into the fatal crash of a Nigerian military aircraft last Sunday, killing 7 people. The Beechcraft King Air B350I is understood to have crashed short of the runway in Abuja after reporting engine failure. Saudi Arabia's Civil Aviation Authority, GACA, has this week confirmed that Boeing 737 MAX planes will be allowed to return to service to and from the kingdom after meeting safety requirements. This follows the UAE, which is doing the same, paving the way for 14 Fly-Dubai MAXes to return to service once modifications have been made and additional pilot training completed. Air Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast's flagship carrier, based in Abidjan, has taken delivery of its first A320neo, becoming the first operator of the type in the West African region. The Neo will be serving regional routes for Senegal, Gabon and Cameroon. Destinations like South Africa will be added at a later stage. The delivery flight from Toulouse carried a ton of humanitarian goods, including medical equipment and toys, thanks to a partnership with Aviation Sans Frontières and the Airbus Foundation. The mission is part of Côte d'Ivoire's Corporate Social Responsibility Initiative. Some interesting news in the world of air traffic management. Spain's Indra has been awarded one of the key contracts for the future of air navigation in Africa. It's to revamp the air traffic control system at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, the 7th largest in Africa in terms of the number of passengers. It will coordinate flights approaching Kenyatta and 2 other airports in Nairobi, Eastleigh and Wilson. The system includes the automation of the control center, control towers, and a simulator for training the controllers. And as Bahrain is well on the way with its airport modernization program and investment in ATM, including its area control center, which manages the airspace from Kuwait to the UAE, It was announced this week that the country's training academy, GAA, is to include an air traffic control training, and it officially opened its new tower simulator that will train controllers for Bahrain airport operations. Meanwhile, Dubai's air navigation service, DANS, has selected Frequentis and Bannai to supply digital ATIS systems for Dubai International Airport and Dubai World Central. ATIS systems supply automatic meteorological information to pilots and terrestrial broadcast and data links. West Africa's biggest cargo airline, Allied Air, has taken delivery of its first Boeing 737-800 converted freighter. The aircraft is the first for airlines in Africa, and the freighter is the youngest 737-800 in the world to have been converted to date. Finally, DAE Capital has signed agreements for the purchase and leaseback of 7 Airbus A321neos with Indigo. All 7 aircraft, which are on long-term lease, will be powered by CFM International's LEAP-1A engines, and they're scheduled to be delivered later this year. Singapore's BOC has also signed agreements with the airline for 8 320neos. That's the news. An incredible amount of attention to detail, COVID protocols, and following the principle of where there's a will, there's a way, meant that last week almost 65,000 visitors attended the IDEX show in Abu Dhabi. It was great to see the defence industry coming together. And although the historic attendance of Israel didn't quite happen after a Tel Aviv travel ban, there was an amazing amount to see. And if you want more, take a look at our Defence Monthly programme on our Times Aerospace YouTube channel. But one incredible story was about the rise and rise of the UAE's Edge company. The Emirates brought the whole defence businesses together under one umbrella just 15 months ago and proved for sure that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. I asked Edge's CEO, Faisal Bannai, about the company's meteoric rise.
I think it's been an interesting 15 months, as you said. When we announced the launch of Edge in November of 2019, we had just put the companies together under one roof from a brand and a structure point of view. But we had a big journey to start building the capabilities. And we said at that time, we want to be a company that is agile, a company that can move very fast, a company that's also going to lead when it comes to autonomous capabilities, when it comes to electronic warfare, and when it comes to smart weapons. I think within the 15 months, while 12 of these 15 months is COVID, in that regard, I think what has been achieved by the team working has been nothing short than amazing. The range of autonomous products that you see outside, from ground vehicles to tactical drones to longer range drones that are going to be delivered to our customers this year in this regard. So a number of them already finished trials. They are going to be delivered to customers this year. We went from scratch. These products did not exist. And the reason we're able to move that fast is the point we mentioned last time, is we want to be a very practical company that is picking stuff from off-the-shelf commercial technology and combining it with military know-how and really accelerating from concept to launch of a product. And I think the result is the type of drones and solutions that you see on the ground today.
A really amazing story. Now, our GCC editor, Jill Stockbridge, has also been looking at other businesses that are cleaning up, quite literally.
The global COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we all consider our personal health and safety and the cleanliness of our environment. The aviation industry is no exception. Across the region, the airlines have been reassuring their passengers that sanitisation and cleaning of the aircraft has been a vital part of their return to business. But we'll be talking to an airline consultant about how passengers may be needing more. We'll also be seeing how one Middle East airline even applies its cleanliness culture to its engines, as well as finding out how business aviation has been applying specialist skills to make VIP transport safer. Liberty Aviation at Dubai World Central has been carrying out that task for DC Aviation Al Futtaim, as Upal Nurmal, Director of Operations, explains.
Okay, first of all, what we do is we have to protect ourselves, and we protect ourselves. We use proper PPE and personal protective equipment. Then we go inside the aircraft, and the chemicals that we use for the sanitization is aviation approved and Dubai municipality approved chemicals. Usually every aircraft manufacturer, they have a notification how to do it. Mostly we do hand sanitization. The reason is the fogging is good for some of aircraft, fogging is not good for some of aircraft as well, because it can destroy the electronic equipment by the fogging, but it's better to do always hand sanitization. We have to understand the virus as well. The virus itself, it's a droplet, all right, it's on the surface all the time. So basically while you are wiping down, it's better than the fogging, so you're always cleaning everything.
Once sanitized, the aircraft is certified for 36 hours as COVID-free. The airlines carry out similar processes of hand wiping between flights, and if there's been any single positive case of COVID, then a secure suited team goes in to disinfect the entire aircraft using fogging. But airlines consultant, US-based Chen from VX Consulting, who will be a key speaker at this year's Aviation Africa conference in Kigali in July, thinks the airlines need to go even further, and that proper cleaning, rather than just sanitization, should be top of the agenda.
Traditionally, I think most airlines, the management, they're more focused on new product development in terms of new interiors, new seats, new everything, audio, video. But I think the key is that I think airlines are missing on the life cycle of the products. So because everything, when it's new, just like when we buy a new car, when we first bought it, of course, everything is great, but then you have to go through the life cycle of the ownership, have to maintain it, you have to clean it, you have to take it to the car wash. So I think, it's exciting to have new products, smells great, looks great, a lot of press, but it's really the cleaning, the maintaining the product side of it is lacking until the COVID hit last year. But then once it hit, everything is focused on disinfection. Customers don't really see how you disinfect, and they don't see the results of disinfection. So, but what they see is if there's trash in the cabin, if there are crumbs, whatever they can see, they can feel, they can touch. So that's really something that I think in most cases, airlines are not focused on, which is something that they can absolutely improve. I think a lot of people don't, passengers can't really tell the differences between when you say you disinfected the aircraft versus you cleaned the aircraft. In some cases, actually, there's confusion between the cleanliness of the cabin versus the condition or the upkeep or the appearance of the cabin. Last couple of times I flew since the COVID, I noticed people, of course, when we board the plane, the flight attendants will hand out the small packet of wipes. So, but then everybody gets the wipe, or they bring their own wipes. And then the first thing they do is when they get to their seat, they wipe everything. So, but then when the airlines say, well, we wiped everything for you, but customers don't trust them.
Airlines really are committed now to cleaning. And not just for that extra polish, but also to improve performance. Etihad and GE have teamed up to launch 360 Foam Wash, a groundbreaking jet engine cleaning system to optimise performance of Etihad's GE90 and GE NX-1B engines on its Boeing 777 and 787 Dreamliner fleets. It's an alternative to the water wash method and restores engine performance, leading to reductions in fuel consumption. Etihad was the first airline in the world to trial the new system. So, as airlines do their bit to ensure passengers are safe and the facilities are clean, even if sometimes they do need a bit of help from their robotic friends, as shown here in Kigali, they are all ready to get us flying again. This is Jill Stockbridge in Dubai. Washed, dried and confident to fly again, Alan.
Thanks, Jill. It won't be long until you're up there again complaining about not being able to keep on your social media. Well, connectivity is really vital for today's passengers, whether on a commercial airline or on a VIP private jet. We hear about KaBand and KaBand. I don't get it, but Steve Nichols, our space and technology editor, does. And he joins us now. Steve, come on then, KaBand, how important is it?
I think it's really important. I think it's important that people can do in the air what they're on the ground. KU-band was a kind of an older technology, lower frequency. KA-band is up there in the sort of 40 gigahertz. And as a result, you can get more and more information over. So it's more like you have an experience like you have on the ground. In-flight connectivity has come on leaps and bounds. And in fact, it's almost an essential now for business aviation. I asked Honeywell's John Peterson, Vice President General Manager, Aerospace and Connectivity Services, why KA-band connectivity and why now?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Steve. The focus on KA connectivity really has to do with how the satellite providers are investing. So KU band is old. The KU band are the satellites that were put up a long time ago for normal broadcast TV, and they adapted them in order to make them work in a low data rate environment. So the satellites that are up are old. A couple of investments have been made by folks such as Intelsat, but for the most part, those satellites also are older technologies. That's fine if you've got hundreds of millions of people in a country, but in air transport, where you've just got airplanes flying around, you need the most efficient method possible. And those technologies are all being launched in KA-band. The KU-band is much more expensive to aggregate, and there's inconsistencies. KU-band, you'll be on one satellite that's 25 megabits per second and has spot beams, and then an hour later, you're on another satellite that's a wideband and it's got 5 megabits per second. And you just have to live with those inconsistencies. It's the same satellite from the same provider globally, but on top of that, the new satellites being launched are at terabit per second, hundreds and hundreds of megabits per second of capacity, exponentially higher than what KU launched years ago, decades ago.
What can passengers do with a KA-band connection then?
So the KA-band connection as it exists today and what's being provided today by Emersat really gets down into permitting you to have a living room experience on an aircraft. So to be efficient, to be able to do your email, your web surfing, your web browsing, and things like that, they all exist. And then you can even do a certain amount of streaming video as well.
Okay, from a business aviation perspective, how easy and costly is it to install such a system?
So today, these satellite KA systems are still rather expensive. We're seeing them anywhere in the range of $400,000 to $600,000 to be installed on an aircraft. The antennas themselves are still a little big, and they need to be installed on larger aircraft that are more like a super mid, up through your ultra long range aircraft. So like your Challenger 650 up through your Gulfstream 650s. So I think in the next 5 to 7 year range, we're going to see new antenna technologies come out that help us bring down that cost, bring down that barrier into smaller aircraft.
So should business aviation operators invest now or wait?
So the way that Honeywell works is we think they should invest now, because what we're doing is making sure that the solutions you put on now work on the capacity that comes later. And so there's no reason to wait. And for business jet operators, we're talking about the significant increase in terms of your productivity. So there are two components here that are going on. One, executives can't unplug. It's just the world has changed. They have to be on all the time. And second, the high net worth individuals want to be connected to their social media.
John Peterson, thank you very much.
You got it.
We'll roll on with that rollout. Well, the atmosphere was really electric at a rollout for Rolls-Royce this week. The British engineering company plans to set a world record for the fastest electric aircraft. And that dream came a step closer this week when its Spirit of Innovation aircraft carried out its first taxi run ahead of its expected first flight. Powered by a 500 horsepower, 400 kilowatt electric powertrain, Rolls is aiming to exceed 300 miles an hour thus smashing the existing 232-mile-an-hour record from Germany's Extra 330 LE, set in 2017. Well, I tell you, the future really is happening, and it's electric. Good luck to Rolls-Royce with that, and we'll keep you updated with that programme. So that's it for us for this week. Well, we've got a great insight programme coming out next week when we talk to the chairman of South African-based but global-reaching Paramount Group, Ivar Ichikowitz, and he shares his thoughts about the industry and, importantly, his dreams for the bright future of Africa. Now, if you missed the Defence Monthly, which gave you the full lowdown on next year's World Defence Show, and our fast-moving show wrap from IDEX event, both are on our websites or on the YouTube channel. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Until then, goodbye.